Hello everybody, my name is Alberto Marquez. In this video we are going to review the basic skills needed to work with R, the statistical package. So without further ado, let's go into the topic. This is a PowerPoint presentation. The images that you see are not actual printouts of the or captions of the screen. However, I will be switching back and forth from using RStudio and these slides. So the first one is the arithmetic, and the basic concept is that you can use the basic arithmetic just like in your calculator you would do. So let me share that. This is RStudio, and here in the console I can type those expressions. So I can write, say for instance, 1 plus 2 or 5 minus 4. These are exactly the same things that you will have in the PowerPoint presentation. 2 times 4, and you see the output 3 over 4. 2 to the power of 3 is 8. And then for the order of operations, multiplications and division go first over summation and subtraction. So if you have something like 20 times 6 plus 33 divided by 3, in this example the 33 divided by 3 will happen first, and the 20 times 6 will happen first. So that'll be 131, the answer. And if I don't want to have that, but I want to have parentheses in which the summation happens first, then I need to use parentheses 6 plus 33, all that divided by 3. Now you can use, if you notice, the system actually typing the closing parentheses for me, so that helps to count the number of parentheses that are going to be. So that's 260. So continuing with these ideas, the comments are inserted using that pound sign, and that allows us to write any explanatory labels for later letting us know what we were trying to do. A common practice is the use of lower cases with dots to specify variables that are meaningful for us. So while it's easy to type in A, B, C as variables, maybe it's a better idea to have some level of descriptive notation when we're using variables, because for purposes of documentation that makes our life easier. So the way that we would use this in context would be to make assignments. Like for instance, we can assign the value of 33 to a variable named A. Notice that this is like an arrow pointing in the direction of the variable, and is not a less than or equal sign or anything like that. Is the notation is assigning the 33 into the memory spot that it's A, and we can verify that A just by typing A, the value is 33. I can also do B less than or equal to, well, I shouldn't say that, it's just an assignment, and let's say that my assignment is 22, and I can overwrite the value of A. Say for instance now A is going to be assigned the value of what it used to be A plus the value of B. So what it used to be A is 33, the current value of B is 22, so the new value of A should be 55. So very importantly, the data types that are used in R are numeric data points, which include integers or floating point numbers, that is, numbers that contain decimal values. They could be logical, which are a binary option on whether something is true or false. And we have strings of characters like hello world, my name is, your own name, etc. Anything that it's a label or text. And you can make the assignment just as in the case of the numbers that we saw. We can identify which type of information is in each one of the variables by typing in class and then the name of the variable. So let's do that. So let's make an assignment. This will override the value of A. It was 55. Now we're going to change it to hello. And if I type in class of A, it will tell me that now it's character. I can check the value of B. B is 22 and the class of B, and I can specify a true value for the variable C, and the option is to do either T or F for true or false, and that's sufficient. And if I go and check the class of B, class of C, it's a logical value, and the value is true. Of course, I can change the value of that. Say, for instance, I do C is going to be now false, and I have to type it. Okay. Well, look, oh, capital C is a function, so you should not use capital C. My error was typing in capital C because I pressed caps lock. So small c, and the value is false, right? Capital C has a specific functionality, and we will discuss that later on. Very good. So R has the ability to create structures of information that work naturally within the scope of the language R and the functions in R and RStudio. And the first one and easiest one is vectors. Vectors are one-dimensional list. Well, I should not use the word list because list is a different thing. But are one-dimensional collections, and it's an ordered collection of values. Typically, we could be using numeric values, but you can have vectors that are choice or vectors that are logical. All of the entities inside the vector must pertain to the same class. That is, they are all numeric, or they are all character, or they are all logical, but they have to be of the same type. You cannot have different type of classes inside vectors. So the way that you create a vector is you specify a name and you assign the stream of values using the command C. So I'm not sure if C is for create or C is for combined, or why it was that they selected C, but the truth is that that's what works. So after cleaning the screen of the console in RStudio, we can create a vector, and I'm just going to say my.vector, and that's a name that I chose. You can choose your very own name. It could be apples or it could be anything, and I'm going to assign a list of numbers 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, following example. Again, notice that it opened the parentheses for me and allowed me to enter the data. So now I have a vector that has 5 values, 5 numeric values. Also, you can see that here at the right hand side in the global environment, I have different values that are working as I keep typing different things. Most recently I type in my vector and it's telling me it's the number, positions 1 through 5, and the values are 1, 2, 4, 5, and 10. So you can check the values of the variables that you are creating here in the environment in R. Very good. So you can clean the console by pressing the broom here on the top right corner, and that will clean your space. Also, you can clean the variables that you may have. If you go to the environment, and you can select to see this as list or as in grid. I prefer to see them as grid because then I have a nice set of columns, and I can erase the things that I will not be using. Say for instance I won't be using C, and then again you have a different broom here, small broom, and it's asking me if I'm sure before I clean it because it won't be able to get back. And there you go, I clean it. I still have the vector, my vector, and I can see that one by typing my.vector. Notice that it helps me remember what I typed before, so it's very convenient to use RStudio, and it lists what I have. So that's what we currently have, and one thing that you can do is we said that we could have different type of vectors. So you can create vectors that are numeric, character, or logical. We use C to create vectors, and only one class of information in each vector. Very good. Now we can identify the position inside the vectors by giving them names. Say for instance, if we have the sales by month in total units, for instance, if this is equipment maybe that you're selling, and you have 4 districts: the North District, the South, the East, and the West District, and you have the information associated to these as 10, 42, 23, 45. I can see that I have a typo there, like the extra comma after the 45. But anyways, by using names of sales, you will have not only a position, but now you can identify the position with a name for each one of the positions inside. So and there are 2 ways to do this. One is directly have the names into the respective vector, or use an intermediate vector which contains the districts, in this case the North District, the South, the East, and the West District, just as names, and then apply that districts to the names in sales. So in other words, the feature of name is something that each one of the moment that you create a vector, it has a possibility to add names to the positions, and it's up to you to use them or not if they are convenient for yourself and easier to identify the information that you have. So let's do that in the software. Very good. So what we are going to do now is make use of names to identify the different positions in the vector. I have my vector here. And the way to do that, definition of north, south, east, west, and central is by using names. So how did I do that? I type in my dot vector. No, I'm sorry. I type in names, and then I use that function names on my vector to change the name of the positions inside the vector, and what I do is make an assignment as if it was a vector, but it's a vector of names. See, and I'm going to change it just for you to see how this works. So let's say now that these are districts that are associated with different cities. So let's say it's district Houston, district Austin, and we need to use these apostrophes or quotation marks, and then let's say we use San Antonio, El Paso. We need 5 of them. Let's go with Dallas. All right, so these are our 5 districts pertaining to 5 of the largest cities in the state of Texas, and that is going to be the label that will allow me to identify the information inside the vector, the location of the vector inside the vector. So right now you may have not seen doing nothing, but if you type my vector now, you will see that the titles on top of the information pertains to, so you can do these in different ways. Another way to do it is to create a vector. Say I'm going to go back to the districts. Let's say I do vector districts, and that's going to be my vector. And I make the assignment, and the assignment is, remember, we use letter C, and the districts are, let me do that again, it's north, south, east, nothing wrong there, pay attention, east, west, and finally central. So I need to have 5 of them because I have 5 data points inside the vector. And I can identify now that by, if I use names of my vector, is going to be this vector just created, which is districts. So if I type in my vector this time, it's probably this should be my dot vector. And you're going back to the north, south, east, west, central. Alright, let's cut this video here, not to make them too long, and in the next video we're going to start with the arithmetic